Welcome back to In the Stu with Nice Landry, Eliza Reyes over here, and to my right, Mr. George Ofman. And I had a question. Now, obviously, everybody is excited about the Chicago Bulls right now. It's a whole energy that is going just sweeping across the Chicagoland area, in which I called a long time ago. I have Eliza to back me up on that. However, how do you feel about the Bulls' chances to make a long run in a playoffs?
It really depends on if they get their players back healthy, because they have been struggling, particularly defensively, in a lot of these games. That's some of their weakness is their defense. But when you are missing Caruso, their best defensive player, Lonzo Ball, who is their best ball handler,
Absolutely.
when you had Zach LaVine out, they've had an enormous amount of injuries.
Derrick Jones Jr.,
but healthy.
Green.
I think a lot could depend on a trading deadline, which is coming up very shortly.
This Thursday.
Which they could very well use another solid rim protector that doesn't necessarily need to score. They need another big man to allow Vucevic a little more ability and roaming ability. But they can't win on the back of one or two players. Can they win an NBA title this year? I don't think so. I think we saw that last night. That Phoenix team is as good as you get. That's about as good as you get. And right next to them, Golden State. The Warriors are great. And in the East is fairly open. Durant's not played, and one of the Nets have lost 8 games in a row. They're supposed to be the best team.
Yeah. The East is wide open.
It's wide open, but I still like the Heat. I still like the Bucks. I think the Bulls could very easily get knocked out in the first round, and they could very easily make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
They're hurting a lot of hearts over here, George.
Well, but they are.
A lot of hearts.
Listen, things have happened very fast with that franchise. When they made the moves that they did last year in the offseason, my first inclination was to say, nice, you got good enough to be not good enough. But in fact, they were better than I thought, because we have seen, the emergence. DeMar DeRozan's a great player. We've seen how Zach LaVine has become a better player. We've seen Ayo Dosunmu become a spectacular talent, and he's going to get better and better and better. And believe me, they are not going to trade that guy. I can tell you. So Dosunmu is wonderful, but they still need help. But they are not what I would call championship caliber yet. But the window is small because of the age of DeRozan and Vucevic. How long can they do that? They only have he's got a 3-year contract, DeRozan, and we've seen his great ability. I think the Bulls will see what they do at the trading deadline. We'll see what they are health-wise. They've been exciting. They've been fun to watch, but against the really good teams. Remember when Golden State and the Nets were here? They got clobbered by 38 back-to-back.
Yeah, they did.
That was not fun to watch.
1-11 against the top 7 teams in the NBA.
Yeah, but part of that too has been that they have not had some of their healthy players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that is a measure. When you put those numbers out there, you can't say that that's an NBA championship caliber team.
Well, one can argue, and I'm always the optimistic in the process. One can argue that game last night against the Suns, they lost by 3 after being down by 25 while missing Lonzo Ball.
That's deceiving. That was garbage time.
It wasn't because they both had their stars in.
Yeah, well,
until the very end.
The Bulls, that game was really, they had no chance. And the score is deceiving to me. That score was, they were down by 28 and a half.
Yeah. No, it was 25.
25. And yes, they made it close at the end, but that's neither here nor there. That's a terrific Phoenix team.
And then the night before that, they played Philly, where Joel went off for 40 and DeMar went off for 45.
Right.
And it was a clash of the Titans, it seemed, without LaVine, without the Carusos, without the Lonzo.
They played a good game that night.
These pieces, not to mention Derrick Jones Jr., who I think a lot of people underrate in this his role on his team. He's a rim runner. He's very athletic. He's able to get up and down the court, and he's able to guard on the perimeter and in the paint. So it gives them a little bit more flexibility.
But you need your stars to play, and right now their stars are unable to play.
Absolutely. So we'll see how the health shakes out around the March time frame. However, they're saying Pat Williams might come back, and Coach Donovan is kind of leaning towards yes on that.
He is, but he is an unknown at the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's going to be very interesting to see. That's why they're going to be. It's interesting what they will do at the trade deadline, because they're not going to trade him, and they're not going to trade DeSumo, which leaves you with Kobe White. And you can't trade a draft choice because guess what? They already traded those for Vucevic.
2027, I believe?
Well, they'll have first round picks after that. But I don't think they have one next year.
Not one next year. Then they traded the one after that. Then not one year. Well, then
I don't know how many they have, but they need
2027 is their next.
They have. Listen, they've got good young players and good veteran players, and they could make a nice run in the playoffs.
And you mentioned that the window might be small.
Yep.
However, the enthusiasm that's running through Chicago, that's running through the NBA right now about Chicago, can draw names, big time names, to Chicago finally in the near future too as well.
Well, you've already gotten one. You've gotten a couple of them in the free agency. I mean, you got DeRozan.
Correct.
You went out and got Lonzo Ball, so you got the pieces that you wanted to have. And yes, it's never been a destination point through all these years, even after the 6 championships that the Bulls won, that they could get a legitimate star franchise player like Dwayne Wade or LeBron James who tickled them, but that was about it.
There's one player that comes to mind whose contract is up in a few years, 2024, and he used to play in an organization that Arturis was at previously.
So
that's Denver. I'm talking about Jokic.
Well, but that's a ways off. And my guess is that Denver will give him the max contract because, listen, it's not a bad place to play as well.
So. Absolutely.
I love my Bulls as any Chicago fan though, but statistically, I have to agree with George. However, I can say as fans, we definitely bring this fire that does, but there's so much we can do in the trade line. It's going to be close. If we make it at least to the playoffs, I feel like it's a big win in Chicago's books. It'll give us a boost and continue.
The last time I covered the Bulls, a game, was in February. It was 2 years ago. The announced crowd was 14,000. Remember, the Bulls were drawing 20,000, right?
A night.
There were maybe 9,000 people in the building. I showed pictures on Twitter because I was covering the game. I said, plenty of seats available. I mean, it was like unbelievable. And now they're pretty well packed again. People were waiting for this franchise to come back because there are a lot of Bulls fans. I'll give you a real short story here. In 1980, the Bulls had Reggie Theus. They had that team. They missed out on Magic Johnson on the coin flip of the draft, and they got David Greenwood. The old Chicago Stadium. One night, me and David Schuster decided we're going to count how many people are in the building. It was under 1,000.
Really?
Wow.
Under 1,000. 3 years later, some guy named Jordan came. Attendance went from an average of 6,000 to 13,000 to there isn't a seat left for the next how many years?
Even the after effects.
Yes. Oh, no. The Bulls, it was amazing that the Bulls were drawing well with crappy teams. They kept drawing and drawing and drawing. And finally, they weren't. And they knew they had to make a change in management, even though I'm a big fan of John Paxson. And the management came in there and said, we're going to take a look at things and let's see what we're going to do. Look what's happened. Starving Bulls fans have a team that they like. They're not only good, they like this team.
Yes.
How can you not like a guy like, DeRozan, the way he's closing games, and Zach LaVine, who was closing these games, and he's given up that role, and Lonzo Ball, and Caruso's a fan favorite. The crowd's chanting MVP. The last time we heard that was D-Rose.
D-Rose. Oh, yeah.
We got
the last jersey I have from them.
I just had like a moment right there because when Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah and Luol Deng and that team, Carlos Boozer, that group of players that came together, which he did. There really wasn't a number 2 scorer on that team, although some can call Carlos Boozer that guy. Derrick Rose kind of carried that team offensively, but defensively was stout with Thibodeau at the helm. That was the last time I felt really excited about the Bulls. However, I've never wavered in regards to my loyalty and fanship towards the Chicago Bulls and followed them through the rough years as well.
Right.
So to have this as a Bulls fan, there's nothing that can top it.
No, listen, it's fun, and I was there the late afternoon when Derrick Rose was injured against the Sixers, and we, even for those of us sitting up there in the media, just said, "Oh no, that's it." People said the Bulls couldn't win a championship; they weren't as good as the Cavaliers with LeBron, and I said they make the Eastern Conference Finals. They were one player away. If Rose is healthy, that was a really good team with a really good coach, albeit he runs his time, and he's already seemingly running his time with the Knicks now. But they were good. They were fun. Luol Deng was a good scorer, good defensive player. That was a fun team to watch because D Rose, and look at what he's doing now. After all those injuries, look at how well he's doing. He is really a great story.
Well, I was just talking to some former Bulls fans, if you want to call them that, and they were
former Bulls
and they were talking about how they fell off of the Bulls because Derrick Rose got hurt and they started losing. Yeah. And then they chased. I told them that they chased Derrick Rose out of Chicago. Right? Bulls fans chased Derrick Rose out of Chicago only to want him back in the past couple of years.
Well, I think they saw, first of all, he kept getting injured. He didn't want to come back. He looked like damaged goods. They couldn't win with him. But as they saw him really work hard at trying to come back through all those injuries, they had 3 significant knee injuries. Yes, he's shown the fortuitousness of wanting to keep playing and working through all those injuries, and he's still really good. He can't do some of the things he used to do. That's okay. He's still a vibrant player, and he's a really good player.
That comes when you turn 30 and you realize that your best physical days are behind you.
Turn 30, huh? Okay, that's good.
I learned that one a couple years back, but
there's an old saying: life begins at 40.
Oh wow!
So you guys got
a ways to.
There you go.
You got some time.
Yeah, you got some time.
I'm gonna play a little bit more basketball before I get there because I know I'm gonna be done for at that point in time.
Yeah. All this talk about sports and everything, I want to know this transition because now you went from podcasting, you went from radio, now you're at podcasting. Now you're going to start teaching. Like teaching here at IMS. Now I have really big questions about this IMS because I love this school and everything. But what sparked your interest to transition and to going ahead and coming to be an instructor here?
Well, I have a lot of knowledge to impart. So I have what I would call a master's degree in experience. So I think that, and yet, because the technology has changed, I'm also here to learn. I can learn from all of you guys who probably know stuff I don't know. Okay, so that's a good way of teaching me while I'm able to, get you to understand certain aspects of world of media, today's media, how to handle it professionally, how the best way to go about relating with other people. It's a people game, and if you do it right, then you can take the best steps forward. So. I look at it as just imparting knowledge. I don't know if it's teaching more than it is saying, listen, I think I can help you here and I can help you here, and maybe you can help me there, and we can both help each other.
Absolutely.
Well, I got a question. Can we rewind the past 8 months and I start over with you here as well? Because I would really love the opportunity to learn and grow from your knowledge and experience.
Can we rewind the last 48 years? so I could be 20 again? I'd like that, you know.
It looks like I'm gonna come back again next year just for this.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's beautiful to have you as someone with so much experience and knowledge that wants to continue to learn, right?
Yes.
And
you can't stop learning. If you stop trying to learn, then what are you going to do? And this world is about learning. Technology changes every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed in our industry. It's changing in the world. And you really have to stay with it. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter. When I retire, I'm still going to want to learn.
Yes.
I'm going to still want to learn. And if you stop learning, then what happens? Nothing.
The little short story about me. When I turned 30, I figured, hey, I want to figure some things out in my life. You know, it's a crucial point in my life where things were just hitting a wall, and I wanted to figure some things out. So I turned to things like Udemy and YouTube and started teaching myself video production, photography, graphic design, things that I can apply skill sets towards other situations and become valuable in that sense. I think the measure of all learning is the value it entrenches in you and how other people value you as well.
Right. That helps a great deal. And there's another thing that's really important, and that's three words that I lean on strongly, whether those words were spoken to me and the words that I speak to you and to anybody else younger, and that is to follow your dreams. Those are three of the most important words you should ever hear. Follow your dreams, because if you don't, you'll never know. And even if you don't succeed, at least you tried. So I followed my dreams, and I can tell you, I'm still dreaming.
Me too.
I understand that.
My dream that I'm following is becoming a sports broadcaster to hopefully achieve some things that you have in your lifetime, doing this and becoming the greatest person and broadcaster that I can be in this process. And I definitely want to thank you, George, for coming out here and speaking with us today, imparting your knowledge.
Oh, I can't wait.
Driving this sense of achievable. Anything can be achieved, because that's how I feel right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to carry this over to my podcast. I'm going to carry this over to my jobs working for WCIU and other different mediums, and I'm going to work my butt off. Hearing that story about your radio business, that you just went out and you just put your feet to the ground and you made it happen.
Yeah, created his path.
Yes.
Like his own path. Just created it.
Because you don't really, you could say, I'm going to set a path for myself, but boy, you don't know the twists and turns a path can take. I don't think anybody really does, with the exception of maybe some play-by-play people who get into a perfect position and they stay there forever because they belong there. But you never know what path this will take you on. But follow the path. Follow that path, follow your path, and eventually you're going to get to where you want to go. And you keep going, and you listen, I found a new path. Okay? Absolutely. I found a new path. My path is podcasting now. I don't know what my next path will be. Hopefully it's a path that's still in this industry. I don't know. But my clock's ticking. Your clock's got a long way to go.
On the bright side, the way I see it right now is I'll be able to come to campus and see you around and have like this moment to share with you, to not only learn from you, and like you said, is us giving back as well to you and continue to grow. And I'm just excited about that. I would literally come back another year or two if I have to, just to continue to grow and learn. And even go back, like you said, on the history of the things that how things were so different in the industry from then to how they are now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Nice. I hope you can join me back here, because I will gladly.
I will definitely be back quite often to check in on things and hopefully get an opportunity to talk with you more and share the stories and bounce ideas and talk some sports, because I think you know what you're talking about. about it now too.
I hope so. It's been great being with all of you guys. I appreciate it.
I definitely appreciate it too. And we're gonna have to wrap things up. I wanted to say thank you very much for coming out here, George Ofman. We appreciate you kicking it with us here in the stew. I am Nice Landry. I am also joined here by my good buddy Eliza Reyes. Thanks for joining us, and you guys stay blessed. Peace.